So it says 40%, over 40% says, yes, it is. We have a cloud first approach, and 25% yes, but not on the main focus or core business areas. And 30% said that it's either no or just with a minimal scope. So a very large 2/3 of the companies are
Impressive.
using a cloud.
Impressive.
Okay.
Thank you for that
Yep.
one. That's a good
Probably
one.
it's very different than if we had launched this poll even just 2 years ago. But
Oh
now we
yes.
can see this has been changing. So I'm
Yeah.
hiding the poll and your presenter. Here we can see your presentation. So go ahead.
Good, thank you. Yeah, to be honest, I'm one of these guys coming from network security, and for me, cloud was something I'm looking in the morning how the weather is. But yeah, there's definitely a change in the shift, and I think the problems we have now with COVID-19 give us another shift to the cloud. So okay, let's start with our presentation in regards protecting Office 365 with Vectra O. As Daniel has, I think, successfully full presenting what we are doing, I want to extend now this presentation a little bit in terms of cloud and Office 365. And what we definitely see is that I think that's for no one a really surprise that Office 365 is now widely used. Two factors, it is convenient, and second factor, Microsoft is pushing it, and when Microsoft push something, we go to a road that we cannot resist. So every month we see more and more people going to Office 365, and to be honest, Office 365 is then the entry point for a lot of people to the cloud. With the first software as a service application in the cloud, and then there are more and more open in discussing with other cloud technologies. But there is a risk, and there's always a risk, and that's something we learned over time. So think about years back when we started with network, with internet, we did all starting with limit security. We just get access and do things. And now we have progress in the knowledge about how to secure our networks. That's great. We have everything in place, our gateway security environments, our perimeter security. And now we start with cloud applications. And we are looking to the risk and the responsibilities in there. If you're looking at a complete on-prem Mac, you are the one who has the most responsibility to secure the environment with the needed application and tools. So now we shift into a model where we're looking at infrastructure as a service in the cloud, like AWS and Azure, and becomes that it is a good approach. And a lot of customers say, okay, with the approach to a cloud, I'm get rid of my physical and infrastructure security. And only a little bit over my network security, while this parameter is now in a cloud. That's the truth, but never the end. I have still responsibility when I have the data there in my data center in the cloud environment. It changed a little bit with even more when we looking at software as a service. That means there is still, and that's the important piece, there's still a responsibility and a risk that you are responsible for as an administrator, as in security people inside a company. Not all of the risk and the responsibility will take care of the cloud provider, regardless if it's the infrastructure or regardless if it's just software as a service. So this brings again the same problems that we had in the past with perimeter security. To have a good perimeter security, you need knowledge people doing these. And now we get a complete new technology in, and we are back in the problem. I need now people knowing the cloud security. And that's again a key problem. I need to have trained people that know how to secure these environments, how to secure my application, how to secure my infrastructure in the cloud. And that is the key we are facing now. That said, with a big shift to Office 365, it becomes to a real attack vector. Why? Yeah, I think Office 365 starts very quickly, easily, and a lot of people quickly use it and push data on it without thinking about DLP or what happens with these data. And I think we just saw a good presentation of Forcepoint before, how doing DLP and CASB stuff inside, outside your environment, inside the cloud infrastructure. But again, the high value attack is there and it will be used. So when you coming from our point as Vectra, we understanding us as a company doing automated threat hunting, normally on perimeter security, on your perimeter. And what we are doing is we fight against this potential threat with AI. We are looking into the data, the info, in a on perimeter network. We are looking in the network traffic, put out metadata, and look in these metadata. Is there an evidence of a potential breach? Is there a behavior of communication? Is the behavior of a user? If there's something going wrong and data leaves your company. With Office 365, we will go to the same story. So what we are doing is we want to secure you with detection, with the detection of a potential security threat inside the software as a service. And it had nothing to do with CASB. It has nothing to do with any rules and policy settings. We are the line of defense afterwards. What does this mean? If we look into an attack that's mapped to the kill chain, it is a little bit different when we're looking into an on-prem network, in a local network, than in the cloud. So this is an example how we see it and how also MITRE map these, how MITRE also map these threats. So coming from a local network, a compromised endpoint could be the entry point for an attacker and steal a SaaS session token. So that's an account takeover that's normally on-prem, doing, for example, grab an admin key, grab a higher privileged account on your machine. And thus it's different. It's no longer the Kerberos pass key, whatever. It is now the API key. And with this stolen and account takeover, the attack leaves your network. No perimeter security can help you there. And that's important then to see. With our solution, with our detection in the Office 365 environment, we see after, so we see it on-prem with our network sensors, then it leaves the network. We see it in the cloud environment via a cloud API connection. And then we can see the access to the service with the token. We can see possible reconnaissance and phase of this attacker, how he tried to gain privileged access, how to create maybe privileged group and another accounts in your Office 365 environment, looking for targets, and then maybe change DLP policies, change other security setting, and then directly download files that are in your cloud environment. And that is what we are looking for. That said, we have our Cognito platform. This platform comes in a hardware appliance or in a virtual image for AWS, also WAS, AWS, sorry. So Amazon Cloud, Microsoft Azure Cloud, and also then later on, hopefully also for Google. So different approaches, different ways to get to the data. We have stream, recall, and we have Cognito detect. These are the applications we run of the platform. And important, what I give you with this slide is that we are able to grab network traffic in AWS and Microsoft Azure. With virtual sensors, we can run our brain and sensor technologies in these two infrastructures as a service. So that's the first point in cloud. The second important piece is now software as a service, and that's our new Cognito detect for Microsoft 365, or better, Cognito detect for Office 365. That's important. Okay. A simple entry question for the problem is, if you had a compromised Microsoft Office 365 account right now, how would you know it? And that's an important question you need to think about yourself. I know that a lot of tools are there, and even depending on your licensing model, you might have Microsoft ATP, or you might have another CASB solution over on top. But again, how would you see an attacker hanging around in your software as a service? And that is the definitely answer we want to give with Cognito detect for Office 365. We want to see the post-compromised attacker behavior in this environment. That is the key we have. Coming back to attacks matrix and the mapping between. I think the MITRE attack framework is great, and you might see the MITRE attack framework for our detect solution on-prem, and that we are doing 91% of the models and tactics. We have models for to detect everything that's in the network. Now MITRE starts the same with for cloud services, and if you can see here, we are working on 25 attacker behavior models that's just optimized for Microsoft 365 as a first application. There are some that we can already do today. That's a tactic covered by at least one model. And the other, the white ones, are ones that we can address via the integration. And that's very, very important. So only with this approach, with on-prem and cloud, we are able to give you a good sense and looking over the whole hybrid technologies that you might have in place. So that's good one of our solution. And what makes us in that environment, where is the value there? And that's again the multi-cloud strategy, the hybrid strategy of on-prem and multi-cloud, the automated threat hunting inside within rich integration with the tools you have might already in place via integration, API integration, and gives us the best of breach that we have only proven in our on-prem environments, high fidelity attack findings with low noise alerts, and even the possibility to enrich with the metadata your threat hunting activity. So a lot of words. What is definitely the different? The different is we are looking for tactics and procedures and methods of an attacker. We are not looking to any signature-based IP domain hash network artifacts. We are not nails any signatures. We are not using any database. We nail it down to the tactics and behavior of an attacker. That is the main differentiator, our solution. That brings us in the position, give you a low noise, high duration signal, in our Cognito Detect platform. By the way, I will show you shortly a live presentation, a live demo, how these detection and scorings look like. And again, between on-prem and cloud, you are able to pivot and look also a pivot way of these attack in your infrastructure. Looking at Vectra and Office 365 is a good way at this one. What you do today with prevention in your network, that is our Cognito Detect, Recall, and Stream on the detection response side in your network environment. What you do today with maybe CASB and other mail security or cloud security tools is similar to the ones you did with prevention in your network, but it's the same for us that we can nail down with our tools we already in place. We just need to adjust our models, and we are on the way to doing it. The implementation is very simple. While it's very simple, we use the data out of the API admin pane of the Office 365 environment. So it is, if you are a Vectra customer today, you have your brain where your data lives. And what happens is that you easily just go on a link and say, hey, I want to enable my Office 365. Then a request from the brain starts to our cloud. It will be a Vectra own managed application start for you, connecting to your Microsoft Office environment. You just need to gain access, so you get a registration link. You take that registration link to your Office 365 administrator. He just needs to do give you access to the API. So to do this process is very simple. You need to choose the cloud location and the domain where we need to connect to. And then you get an URL out of our Sensor app. You give it to your Office 365 administrator. He go onto the URL, authenticate himself with his credentials on the Office 365 administration part, and grant access to our application. That's it. And starting this week, we are able to provide you with a beta. So far, we had an early access that was far away. Now we have the beta and can, if you are interested in testing the Office 365 connection, and you are, you can ask for it, and we can definitely provide you with a demo and a beta. So how does the demo look like? Now let me change the view to my browser. Okay, that was easy. I hope you see my browser. So what's here is a demo environment that you might already see. This is the way we see threats in your environment. What we are not doing, we just don't have just one detection. We're looking at the behavior, and the behavior gives the threat uncertainty score. Depending on the threat uncertainty score, system goes in the upper right corner. And that's the way we are also looking now to Office 365. What does it mean? An Office 365 is not an host, it is not an IP address, it is a user. So guess what? We now put these information in our account, and you directly see the account view that we have on-prem and coming from Office 365 on a very simple, easy way. You directly see that we just put in the accounts that we observe in your Office 365 environment in O365 in front of it. That's an easy task. So then you directly can see, let's sort to the threat score, who is here in Office 365. And I want to give you an example where a lot of detections are in. Now you can see here is an account in the Office 365 environment that have a lateral movement and also an exfiltration in our point of view, and gives you then this, in this case, 4 detections we nailed down. These detections are, again, we are in a beta stage, so it's very early of these detections. We have here an account brute force attack. We have an attempt of disable logging, so an administration task. We have the same for disabling security tools, and we have seen a suspicious mail forwarding that tries to configure it. And I say these are very simple ones. Again, more complex ones come. What I can show you is now a new document. Oh, sorry, that was a vector scrolling. Sorry, that was the wrong one. Let's go, for example, to the Office 365 suspicious mail email forwarding. It points you now to a beta document. It's really live. It will be updated at least once a day at the moment. Gives you for every detection we have the possibility to see the trigger, the root cause, the business impact, the steps you need to verify it, and more important is the related media attack tactic or technique that's behind that threat. You will find every detection that we have today in the beta. Today it is 12 detections are available today in the beta, and the end goal is 25 different behaviors of an attacker in your Office 365 environment. So for us, a little bit development to go, but we are on a good way at the moment. But again, the good one is now that we see this directly in the Cognito UI. In the future release, we are able to see these metadata also then in recall and stream, and therefore also in your data lake. We can forward the information directly also to your SIEM if you wish. So what does the attacker try here? First of all, he tried to log in and have multiple login attempts. I think that's important to know. The next one is, you see it's from the threat, and certainty score was not so high, but the threat in the next one and the certainty is very high. So what happens here? So the account was used with to do an administration of your Office 365 environment and try to disable the log. Disable the log, it's very simple. If you steal probably the API token key from your administrator. So it's a try, and to be honest, it failed. So that was good. But there is another try. So disabling logging, and then it tries the same, tries the API call as an admin to disabling security tools in your Office 365 environment. Another try, and to be honest, it was success. Why? It could be that you have the wrong policy set in your Office 365, or the attacker has successfully phished your admin token on-prem or from another system. And then what we saw is that successfully with his admin account, he tries or he already forwarded emails to 3 different other ones. So implemented an email forwarding rule in your environment. That means potentially think about a distribution list like live contracts, like information or whatever, forward this to his own email and grab your customer data easily. That's what we are showing. These are one example and demonstration of the possibilities we have here today in the beta of our Office 365. Okay, now I want to take a deep breath, and I see that I'm far too fast. I give you really minutes, so I would heavily happen if you might ask some questions or we go in a discussion.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at our audience. There is no questions as of now. So if anyone has a question or would like to speak up, please use your tools for that.
I was too fast and I napped away.
No problem, because we've been going on since the morning, so I appreciate our audience, and we still have one more presentation to go, so it's okay even if we cut a little longer break for our audience, because
I can
most
imagine.
of our okay, so let me check. Yeah, I can not see anyone asking any questions at the moment. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, please.
What does it take? Let's suppose that an enterprise already has O365 implemented. What does it take? How can you set up a Vectra to work with that? What if they don't have a local installation, for example, because they are more concerned about their cloud at the moment? What is the steps? How can you implement it? What does the integration look like?
Okay, yeah, so I think it depends on the customer. If it's already a Vectra customer and has an on-prem installation, that's easy to go. Well, he just needs to have the right key license, and he is just able to go to manage, and you see then the possibilities under sensor, create the SaaS sensor. That's it. He just press on it, and with this, he fire up an instance in our AVI's environment to connect to his API, and that's in. It's just another, let's say, virtual sensor in his environment. If it's an prospect, for example, that don't have any Vectra installations so far, and is with his cloud first strategy, he's able to install our brain that we are needed to show him the detection. He can fire up this brain now in Azure and AWS easily. Both are in the store and they can download it, by the way, for free. The only what's then cost is the license. So download is for free, license needs to be provided. So if a customer has a completely cloud structure, is not an Vectra customer, we can provide him then with a test license so he can access the Cognito detect brain, and on top then the beta installation of Office 365.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me ask you, once you're set up and you're connected to O365, how long, because I know that Vectra is using machine learning, and I would like to ask, how long does it take before these detections start to work and start to actually show some results?
Good
for
question.
your local network device, it takes about 2 weeks as a a rule of thumb. How about your 365 product?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's very similar. So first of all, some of the algorithm directly starts. So these called the supervised learning algorithm that we have for some detections directly starts. So let's say brute force attacks, that's something you just jump in after 2 hours. But there are need for example, what user access, what pieces and data in your office environment. That's something we need to learn. And that's something it took roughly 2 weeks up to 4 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much. So one last question that I'm particularly excited about is that you said at the beginning of your presentation that you are planning on extending these capabilities to potentially other cloud providers besides Microsoft. If you are allowed to talk about it, I mean, I promise we're not going to tell anyone else. What is on your roadmap, if you can share that with us?
Yeah, sure. So it's not only Office 365 software as a service. What we see is also Box. It is also Salesforce is definitely on the list. There are several other ones depending on the urgency and the feedback we see in the Office 365. We might go around in several directions. So let's say I would say Salesforce and Box would be the next line that we need to want to have an achievement with SaaS environments.
Okay, thank you, amazing. All right, and basically, I think that we learned as much as we could about this right now. Is this already available for beta? Because yes, so far I understood it was available without the GUI, and now it's very lucky that it's just available for our presentation. So thank you for your engineering team to prepare it for our workshop, our conference. It's amazing.
So to be honest, so far it was an early access program. We put out our new software version this week, so the Cognito software version 5.7, and this also enables the official beta phase. So every customer who wants to test it, we can onboard it, but it's a controlled beta. Not everyone who's just trying, I want to test it, will get access to. You need a little bit, let's say, a little bit paperwork around. That's for sure.
Oh, so is it primarily open for existing Vectra customers at the moment, or even for?
Yes, even for prospects. Even for prospects,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And only one very last question, because we had enough for time for my questions, but also I'm asking the audience, if you have any other questions, please make sure to ask them. Is for Cognito platform, you had sort of a minimum amount of hosts to enable these machine learning algorithms to run efficiently. Is it true in the cloud? Do we need a minimum number of accounts, for example, to enable these algorithms to run?
Now the big yes and no comes in. I would prefer to say that this would work for everyone, beside from 20 user in the cloud to whatever size. I think the open above is no limit, but the low is a little bit the limit. First of all, I think there is an invest in the product, and it should be a minimum amount of users that can be useful to take. So far, we have no learning at what stage it is really needed, but I guess it would be similar to the ones we have in the network, around 200, 500 user in a cloud environment.